Meet Pastor Jummy Opedare, a devout woman of God, wife, mother, and entrepreneur. A God-fearing woman who has devoted her time to ensuring that God's message is used to empower everyone, but most especially women. With a strong belief in the importance of women empowering women and educating each other through our life experiences, she is the founder of Women's Forum, Let's Be Real, a forum for women to work through issues and set and accomplish goals together. Held every second Friday of every month at 6 Alton Road, Lee Green, London. Keep up with Let's Be Real here on PRZ FM every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real on PRZ Radio 109.2 FM. My name is Jummy Opedare. I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday. We are so grateful. Without you, we wouldn't be doing what we are doing. Thank you. We are so privileged to bring this program to you wherever you are. On Let's Be Real, we talk about real life issues that affect our lives and the topic that you, our listeners, have requested for. Don't forget that you can email us on letsbereal@przfm.com. letsbereal@przfm.com. If you have any question, if you have any contribution, if you want to suggest any topic that you want us to bring on here, we'll address it. Thank you so much once again. Tonight, I'm so privileged to have in the studio with me my dear own FMJ, Felix Makanjuola Jr. God bless you for taking time to come on this show again.
Amen. Thank you very much for having me. I think it's the first time this year.
Yes.
So it's a happy new year. Happy new year to all the listeners as well. I love it. Every time I come to the studio, there's always something different.
Fantastic. Yeah, moving forward.
Yes.
Progress. We talk about progress from the beginning of the year, and every time we'll continue to see significant changes in our lives.
Fantastic.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. Thank you.
Tonight we're talking about something very, very important. We are talking about relationship. I think everything about this world is about relationship. It's such a key thing in our lives, in our existence.
It's so important. I mean, you may not have a business, you may not go to school, but you have some sort of relationship. You're relating with somebody, whether it's with a father, even the bus driver.
Oh yeah.
I joke, you get in the bus, and if you don't behave well, if your relationship is not good, the bus driver can divorce you.
Kick you out, call someone to get you out of the bus. So it's very, very important. I think we had a program sometimes ago, parents and children relationship.
Okay.
Parent-child relationship. That was a fantastic episode as well by Afo JJ and DJ Saj.
We need that, especially with all the stabbings and things going along. Parents need to be more involved in the life of their children. So it's very good.
And that is why we want to have this particular topic today, relationship, especially in marriage.
Okay.
Between the parents, because we can attach it to when the relationship between parents are broken. It will be difficult for the one with the children even to be strong.
Yeah,
so
it's a foundation, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's what you build everything on, And I think, marriage relationship is very unique. It's very different from any other kind of relationship because it's unlimited in many ways. Unlimited in companionship, unlimited in intimacy, just things you cannot do in other relationships. In the marriage setting, there's allowance for that. And I think it's a very good one, actually, because like you said, in fact, even in the Bible, it's the first institution that God established. So it's very key, very important.
Wow. So I believe that's all our listeners. This is Let's Be Real. We are going to be real in our discussion tonight. We're going to talk as it is tonight. And I believe that some of us will be blessed. You pick one thing or the other. Maybe you want to check that we approve what you are doing or to make you adjust what you have not done. And God will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So I was just looking through and I found out that the statistics for divorce rate is so high, especially in this part of the world that we are in.
It's spreading to other parts, even developing countries, even Africa, Asia. I think the marriage vow is not taken, I don't know, maybe it's not taken as seriously as it is. It's just, we're in the microwave society. We want it now. So if something is not, I think back in the day, if your iron, I remember growing up, they always down a street, there's somebody that fixes the iron, that fixes anything that is broken. When something, they will say, they call them rewire. Oh yeah. They recall the thing, put something up. But nowadays, if it's not, 2 weeks ago we had a power surge at our house, and the connection that was plugged in stopped working. My wife just threw it away.
That's the day.
So I opened the bin and I saw it. I think, I can open this thing, open the fuse, I'll put another wire and it's working. But that's the society we live in. We replace things that are not working.
Yeah.
Rather than repair.
And that's how we replace our relationships. That's what is affecting the society, the community, and we need to address it. We need to pray about it. We need to discuss things that needs to be done. We need to let people know the effect of these things not being the way they should be.
Absolutely.
In those days, I learned that the divorce rate in Nigeria in particular was 0.2.
Oh wow.
0.2, almost none.
Almost non-existent.
Almost none, but not anymore. In England now, it's about 3 years ago, 42%. That is first marriage.
Wow.
Second marriage is worse.
Wow.
In America, it's 67%.
Wow.
And third marriage is 73%.
So there's no hope.
It gets worse. And I always tell people that if you miss the first one, the second one, there's no probability. At times it might, but the probability is very slim.
Yeah, people get it wrong. Fundamentally, they think it's the other person or it's this thing that is not working. But the thing is, if you leave one marriage, you're only going to enter the same, because you're still the same person.
Oh yeah.
You still carry the same characteristic, the same mindset. And so when you meet somebody, more than likely you meet the same kind of person, because we attract our like. And so you meet the same person. It may have been John in the first marriage, but guess what? It's John in the second marriage, in the third marriage, just a different name, but it's still the same characteristics of John.
Absolutely. Now, when we are talking about all these things, so how do we keep this our relationship? Is it possible to keep it, or we are fighting a lost battle?
Yeah.
In your own view, what do you think we can do?
I think I remember when I got married. It was about 3 months in, and I brought the laptop home from work, and I was working, and I had this program on the NCIS, so I was watching it as I was doing that, and my wife came to me and she said, "Oh, let us do something." And almost immediately I said, "Oh, I'm busy, I'm working." And they said, "No, let's do something romantic." And I think sometimes marriages in particular, individuals in marriages, we kind of get used to one another, that we now forget that it actually takes work to make a marriage work.
Yeah.
For example, one of the funniest, and I say this to people, marriage is the only institution that you get your certificate before you go through the course. Other courses, you go through the course, do your exams, and at the end they give you a certificate. In fact, we throw our graduation party before we start the course. We throw a big wedding. We invite everybody. You say, "Come and eat." You say, "I made it," not knowing that we actually just started. Because marriage relationship is a lifelong experience, and we need to keep learning each and every day. Yeah, so it's one that we really need to look at properly to make sure that it's well put together. Yeah.
Okay.
So like I was saying, people take each other for granted. And so I usually say, well, obviously there are many things that so for example now, let's say a guy meets girl, guy likes girl likes guy, maybe they're in their 20s, maybe they met each other. the truth is, each and every one of us, we have experience. Our life experiences shape our character. It shapes our ideologies, our values. And so whether we like it or not, we may like that girl, you may like that guy, they are coming with some experience in life. And that's the first thing each and every one of us must, because you must be humble enough to accept that. Because what I've heard people, when they want to get divorced, they say, it's not the guy I married. She's not the one. You know?
You didn't know that thing.
Yeah. Or the guy says she has changed. Or the lady says he's not trying to change. The woman is usually the one trying to change the guy, and the guy wants her to remain the same. But the truth is, we all come from different experiences, and we must be humble enough to accept that. For example, the guy would complain about, oh, that's not how my mother cooks the stew. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean the way she's cooking it is wrong. It's just a different way. You know, just a different, and the moment we begin to first of all accept that, then because the truth is, nobody's perfect.
True.
The guy is not perfect, she's not perfect, but people need to come together and say that we're starting this marriage, we're starting this family, we're going to set our own goals, our own values. This is how we're going to build. And so more times you see the guy comparing the wife to his mother. You know, for example, I remember when I first got married, you know, I'd been living as a bachelor for about 7 years, just by myself. I had this studio flat, beautiful, a very, you know, one of those kind of penthouse kind of thing, lovely thing. But can you imagine, when you come into people that came in, they will say, I put a lot of documents on the cooker. That's because I was always buying takeaway, buying Chinese takeaway. So I didn't really cook. You know, it was just me. So the first thing when my wife entered, she couldn't understand why is
packed all the documents somewhere.
Move this thing. And then the other one that I found, you know, even the little cooking that I did, you know, my ingredients, my curry, my salt, all of a sudden I wanted to use salt. I couldn't find it. Where is it? She had moved it. You know, because now, and that's the thing, when somebody else comes into our life, we begin to rearrange things, and we need to give allowances that, look, some things might change. It doesn't have to be my way or the highway. Because a lot of marriages break up over something so little and say, no, it's either you listen to me or the guy says, I'm the head of the family, and stamps his foot, you know. And I always say, if a guy has to stamp his foot and say, I'm the head of the family, then it's not. When you have to announce yourself, then there's a problem there.
I agree with you. I remember one of my husband's friend, when he was going to he was dating this girl, and he asked the girl to cook with locust beans. You know, locust beans. And the girl said, I can never touch it, I can't stand the smell. The relationship broke down.
Wow.
And he said he cannot eat any food without locust beans. And I was thinking, this small thing broke the relationship. Well, I think it's better that they were not married then than if they were married and that tiny thing caused the problem. That's just how. But
in relationship, in marriage in particular, and even you can translate this to any relation, there's something called sacrifice. You know, you must be able to sacrifice. Actually, that's a good example, because my wife, she hates, not that she doesn't like, she hates onions. She can't stand onions. Now, me and the other, not that I like onions, I love it. We're like two opposites.
Wow.
But I've come to realize sacrifice. So when she's cooking, obviously she knows that she blends the thing and cooks it. But then I'm mindful. So sometimes when we want to get takeaway or something, you know, we say, please don't put onions, because I'm mindful that my wife will eat out of this thing, and if I want her to be happy, I can let go of onions for today. You know, and that's just little sacrifices that when people make in their relationships, it goes a long way.
To strengthen
it strengthens that bond. Yeah, absolutely. But I think majorly marriages break down because they've lost that first love. They've lost that thing, that spark. You know, when boy meets girl, girl is smitten. You know, she has butterflies in her tummy. Her heart is going giz giz giz. They've lost that thing that, you know, just hearing his name. You know, oh Michael. You know, she begins to get excited, or even him. You know, with his friends, you know, they're playing video game, and he finds a way to bring her name into the conversation because he's thinking about her. And after people have lived with each other for a while, or they've known each other for a while, like they say, familiarity brings contempt. So because they're so familiar, they don't begin to recognize the little things. But maybe when they were dating, when they first met, he noticed the color of her eyes. He noticed, oh, your hair, you did it this way, you parted it this way. But now she goes to the salon, she comes back, where's my food? And she's like, can't you see? I went to, you know, is there something different? You know, you didn't say anything about my hair. So that's one thing, familiarity, and there are different ways to bring that back. I think you need to bring romance back into our marriages. Particularly for Christians. I find that Christians, we think romance is a bad thing. We don't unholy. Yeah. It's amazing the number of things we've been taught, whether consciously or unconsciously, that they are bad. And so when we enter a union that God created, we begin to associate those things with the devil or with bad things.
Oh yes, that reminds me the one episode that we did on the radio about a few years back, wisdom in marriage, that this girl will not allow the husband to touch her, and we go and report to pastor's wife, and there was a lot of errors committed in this relationship.
Why shouldn't be married?
Honestly, she was looking for the fruit of the womb as well. And she's saying that because we have to fast in church, so the husband must not touch her. And it was like, it was a catalogue of errors. There's
a lot of problems there. You're going to, I think the only virgin birth we had was Mary. I'm not sure God is still doing.
There hasn't been any other one after that.
Yeah.
You talked about dating again.
Yeah, so bringing the romance back, you know, and that can translate into different ways. So the first thing I would say is date your spouse again. You know, you need to date your spouse again. You need to try and relive those moments when you first met. You know, the way the guy will go out of his way to pull out the chair. Little things like that mattered then. You know, because familiarity, you know, I pay the rent. I'm being romantic. I'm just thinking, okay, that's not romance. You know, obviously we all have responsibilities in our relationships, but just paying the bills does not mean, you know, you need to date again. And I have some few tips for that. For example, you can theme those dates. You know, because sometimes when the children begin to come in, mortgage and all of this work, we have a lot of responsibilities and we don't have time for our partners, for our spouses. So sometimes you need to find a babysitter or something, get rid of the children. You know, I know, we've got to work to pay the bills, but like there's this saying that says, as you lay your bed or something, so you're gonna lie on it. A lot of families, a lot of husband and wife, they have problems because usually the wife is taking care of the children, and so the children have now become a crutch, that everything is about the children. Then he too is all about work. I have to provide. But you know, if you're providing and you're not enjoying what you're providing, then what's the point? Because the point is not to work. The point is to enjoy a living, to live a life. So I would say people should date away again, get the children somewhere and just go, even if it's for one day. You know, even pretend. You can theme it. Pretend, in the morning, say, I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock. So the guy goes, he comes, and you dress up, not just wearing anything. You know, you actually make an effort. The same way when you first met her and she, you know, She put on the makeup. He tried to put two brown shoes together, even though they were not working, but he made an effort. Because sometimes when we're too familiar, we don't make that effort. We just say, yeah, you know I love you. You know, so dating, try and relive the moment. Try and even pretend this is the first time we're meeting. So set a date and say, maybe, I don't know, it may be a restaurant or a public place, and you get there and you say, you know, some people, they met at a dance or a club and they said that thing, excuse me, dance. You know, sometimes just see and just go, excuse me. You know, and because the moment she begins to see, she begins to feel, oh, who's that talking to me? Now, she knows she's married, but when you're going to have that conversation, you're not talking about children. You're not talking about mortgage. You're talking about, I want to get to, after 20 years, after 10, after 5 years, can I know you again? Some women in marriages, they've lost their name. They are now Mama Bosun. That's their name. In fact, I'm not kidding. This is a true story. It was a woman who came to church one time and said, what's your name? And she kept referring to herself as Mama someone. So, no, but what's your name? Can you imagine? I'm really honest with you. This is a real life situation. She had forgotten her first name.
Wow.
Because she's always been referred to the mother of somebody. You know, this is, and when you met this guy, when you met, the child was not there. So why is it now everything relates back to the child? So get to know her again, get to know him again. You'll be surprised why she cries at night, or what makes her happy. Because sometimes we may assume we know. But in that process of dating, which is why when people are dating, it's always exciting because they have 20 years experience and they're trying to talk on the phone all the time because it's exciting and adventure. You need to get that again, because the moment you can relive those experiences, the excitement comes in. The excitement comes in, yeah.
Fantastic. That's a tip for us to keep our relationship. Start dating again. Date your wife, date your husband again. Go and just talk about yourselves and not about the children, not about the things that you are building on together, but just have time for yourself. And that is very, very scarce. It's not common, or people are just learning to do that now. And I believe that many people will pick on this and they will learn to do it more. Thank you so much. That's a key thing that will help for our relationship to stay together.
Absolutely. I think dating, that's one thing. You know, it's amazing that people don't even go out. They just see at home, or maybe they go to church. I mean, I'm not saying church is not good. Church is great, but this one-on-one time, there's something about it. There's something about it. The other thing I would say, when you want to how to keep your marriage, how to keep your relationship, and I know this is what I'm saying again. I'm going to say this. Whenever we talk about sex, there's like always this blank, and like, oh, it's the devil's word. Is this? In fact, I have to tell. I was ministering somewhere in the church, and I started talking about sex, and everybody just had glazed eyes, like we're not here. I mean, well, you know, when you read the Bible, it says, and Jacob knew. What do you think it meant? It didn't mean it meant they were intimate, you know. But obviously, because the world has turned sex into something so dirty, so even now, and it's God that created sex, not the devil. So we've turned it into something. So the number two thing that I want to say, if you want to bring the life back to keep your marriage, is start foreplay in the morning. Foreplay. What is foreplay? So for a guy, usually when he's interested in making love or having sex, he just goes for the thing. But a woman usually likes her mind to be prepared. She needs to be there emotionally, and this is what a lot of guys miss. And one way to bring that spice back in is to start it in the morning. I've heard guys complain that she's not interested in sex.
The mind is not there.
Yeah, she says she's not there. And but then when you really sit with the woman, she's saying, it's not that I don't want sex, but the quality, I don't like the quality. It just comes, have his way, and he goes. And she says something, I'm not satisfied. And so the way to satisfy a woman, for example, and even it's good for the guys, well, start foreplay in the morning. You go to work, send a text message, I love you. You know, say, I'm missing you. Oh, I'm thinking about you. You know, just those little things. The same little things that when you were dating, you couldn't spend 10 minutes without talking or chatting, sending something or doing something like that. And so it's the same way you need to do that. Start foreplay in the morning. And like I said, it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything sexually explicit. It's just you need to show the affection that, look, I'm thinking of you. So you're not just a piece of meat or you're not just a sex item. Because that's what women usually feel. Because sitting down with women in counseling, I found out that they actually want to experience, they want to adventure sexually. But they feel starved. But then the guy too is feeling starved because he's not getting as much as it. So, but the truth is they actually both want the same thing, just the expression must be different. So start foreplay early, do all those little texting, those, you know, they say sweet nothings. It's actually something. You know, all the things you say, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, or, you know, she wants to hear it. And when you begin to do that, you're putting spice. You're putting the romance back into it.
Not in a deceptive way, or how do I say it? Not in a pretense, just let me say it for saying it's sake.
No.
The woman will get that you are just joking.
Absolutely.
When you know that this one, my husband says this, he will say that, I really appreciate that. Or that will make your mind melt before the real thing.
Exactly. So, like I'll say, start early so you can finish late. If you don't start early, you finish early, because nothing will come, you know, at night or whenever it is. You know,
this is a big advice for men, that you just don't think about yourself when we talk about sexual matter. You have to prepare the mind of the woman from the beginning of the day, before bedtime. This is very, very key, and I believe this is a big advice for all men that are listening to us. Don't think your wife doesn't like you or doesn't want you, but you have to do the things right from the beginning of the day, because as you said, women, we are emotional than not just do the
relational beings. So
emotional being, you have to set the emotion right before you get what you want.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That's a very good advice to keep relationship going.
So that one is key. So I mean, that sorts out because usually when people have problems in marriage, it's either two things: it's either money or sex. So if you can conquer that bit, everybody's happy. The number 3 thing I would say when it comes to putting that romance back or keeping your marriage is try something new. Try something new. And when I say try something new, the thing is, research has shown that when people spend time together on a project, it bonds them. So even a father and a son doing a project together, they begin to bond because they begin to think about that thing and like that. So even in a marriage setting, you need to try something new. You know, be adventurous. Try new things together. It's about the thrill of mystery and excitement of sharing something together. You know, you can try that new restaurant out of town. You know, oh, let's go and eat out here. You've never been, because you're both going for the first time. So in your brains, in your body, there's some chemicals working. The excitement, the thrill, the adventure. Ooh, I've never done this before. Let's see how. And those are the things that made you marry her or marry him in the first place, because it was an adventure. You didn't know what was coming, but you were excited. So try something new. And also, let me go back to the last point as well. Well, you're trying something new. Try something new in the bedroom as well. You know, I say this, it doesn't always have to be boring. It doesn't have to be boring. Not every time the light is off. Not every time, he lies down. No, sometimes stand up. So far is not sin. You know, and that's the thing.
You do behind your door as husband as well and wife is not a sin.
Yeah, exactly. So far, it's not saying you are legally married or whatever. You are in God's eyes. You know, explore each other. You know, so maybe maybe she likes blowing on her ears, then blow on her ears, whatever it takes, you know. And maybe she doesn't like, and actually I'll come back to that one, but, you know, try something new, you know, spice up your life, enjoy your life. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so I think another point leading from that one, trying something new, is take a break, go on holiday together. Holiday, it's you're taking a break from life issues, from life problems, but you're doing it together. You're not just doing it by yourself. So you need to get out of your routine as much as possible of the, you know, everything. Go on a trip. Now, some people say there's no money. It's expensive. You know, this thing doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. For example, I know a couple who they don't have their papers, immigration papers, but every year they take a holiday. You know, they go to Butlins or go to
Bristol, go to the beach, go.
Exactly. It's just that idea of we are sharing time together. You know, one of the things me and my wife we started doing when we got married is like every quarter, because we can get so busy, every quarter we go on some sort of holiday, even if it's just for a weekend, like maybe Thursday, Friday to Sunday or something. Every quarter we make sure we try and do something. So obviously we have the international, but sometimes we just go to Liverpool or we go to Birmingham. We just, you know, it doesn't have to be expensive, but the whole idea is we are together.
Yeah, you can even be in the same town and just lodge somewhere.
Just lodge, exactly. Just lodge in a hotel, lock the door by yourselves. You know, you're not thinking who's doing the dishes, who am I cooking. You know, you can order room service, you know, so that you take a break a little bit. So I think that one's very good. You know, it's just spending time on both of you, focuses you and bonds you together.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We have time to just say one more before we round up for tonight.
Okay, yes, absolutely. And I think this one rounds it up nicely with all the other things. Say what you want. Say what you want. Communication is very important. If you're not communicating with your spouse, then there is trouble. You need to communicate. You need to say what you want. Don't assume that the other person knows, you know, unless they are part of the 5% of people that are psychic. You know, your spouse is not psychic. Oh, she should know. You should know I like this. No, sometimes he may not know. Sometimes he may be blind. He cannot say it. Write it out. Make it plain. Let him run with the vision. You know, even in terms of your vision, your goals, what you want to achieve in life, even in the bedroom, tell him, this is what I like. So he's been blowing in your ears and you don't like it. Tell him, stop, don't blow, I don't like that thing. Communication is key, because after the children have gone, they will go to university, they will leave the house, you'll be left together. And if you're not communicating now, you will find it so hard to communicate later in life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We've learned so much within this short space of time. We're talking about keeping our relationship, especially our marriages. We say FMJ have just given us 5 different points that we can use in keeping our marriages intact. It advises us to date again. It says start foreplay in the morning, try something new together, take a break or holiday together, and say what you want. Please, if you have missed any part of this, you can download it on the SoundCloud, and we will be back to finish this topic up next week. Because we're running out of time now, and some questions have been coming in. We'll take your questions next week and we'll bring it on here. Thank you so much, FMJ, for coming. Thank you for listening to us. And if you still have any question, please email it to us on letsbury@plzfm.com. letsbury@plzfm.com. This topic is so important to us. We want marriages to take together. We want to understand the relationship with our children, and the community will be affected as well. And that is the bottom line. We want everything to be in harmony, but we can only start from our relationship. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I pray that whatever wind that is blowing on your relationship at the moment, the peace of God, I speak the peace of God upon your home in the name of Jesus. The wisdom to manage your home and to keep your relationship, I receive in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Begin to take your place and take actions, and God will bless every work of your hand. Thank you so much. God bless you and stay safe.
Pastor Jummy Opedare, a devout woman of God, wife, mother, and entrepreneur. A God-fearing woman who has devoted her time to ensuring that God's message is used to empower everyone, but most especially women. With a strong belief in the importance of women empowering women and educating each other through our life experiences, she is the founder of Women's Forum, Let's Be Real, a forum for women to work through issues and set and accomplish goals together. Held every second Friday of every month at 6 Elton Road, Lee Green, London. Keep up with Let's Be Real here on PRZ FM every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.